Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on your favorite Little Law YouTube channel. So, in the previous video, I have taken you through the task organization theoretically, but in this video, I'm going to take you through the task organization step by step, and it's going to be more interesting because I'm going to go in a more of a hands-on approach. So, it's going to be more useful for you if you're someone who has started with me in solving or in learning the locust, or if you're someone who is already there but just struggling to find how to handle the task organization. So this video is going to definitely help you. So let's go to the code editor. You're already there, so let me create a folder for this demo, and sorry, not here, in here, and that's going to be task organization. Yep, so task organization. Under this, I'm going to create a file which is locust file.py. And here, let me give you a typical locust test. So for example, if I'm typing task and def browse of pass, and then the first action, right? So I'm opening my browsing action, and the next item I'm choosing add to cart. So I'm adding the cart, I'm adding the items to the cart. And the third one, which is the checkout part. So I'm doing the checkout transaction. So in this, you can see I'm sending three requests. One is the browse action, the second one is add to cart, and the third one is the checkout action. So what is wrong here? So why am I not supposed to do like this? Is because these tasks run randomly. Yes, you hear it right. So these tasks run randomly, and Locust might execute checkout. That's the third transaction here. The browse and add to cart, and then again it go back to browse and check out. But real users don't check out before browsing, right? So they have to browse, and then they have to add it to the cart, and then they do the checkout. But this way of randomly doing it will not work out, and they follow a logical flow. That is browsing the products and then adding to the cart, and then finally the checkout, right? So today we will learn three ways to organize the task. The first one, which is the task decorators, that is what you know, and then the sequential tasks, that is the new ordered way of execution, and then the task sets, which is the new way of grouping the related tasks. So now let's go back to the second section of this video. Welcome to the second section, and here I have the code. So first let's quickly review the task decorators, what you already know. So here I have the code, and I have imported the HTTP user, the task, and then the between. And the point here is, so if you see here, I have got the weights, which happen more often because I have given the task as 5, and then I have weighted here as 2, and then I have weighted the last task as 1. So the total weight of this task here is 5 plus 2 plus 1, which totals 8. So the browse products, which is 5 out of 8, that is 62% of time this will be executed. That's the browse products. And then the second task, which is like 25% of the time, which is 2 by 8, and then the last one, which is 1 by 8, which is 13% of time. So if I want, okay, I'll just show you by running this locust test real quick. So now let me quickly run the execution. I'll show you what happens. So I'm running my test here. I'm starting my test, and if you see, you can very well see here, we can see the actions, like how does it get executed. Like we wanted to browse the products, we want to start from browsing the product, and then we wanted to go to viewing the product, and then okay, let me quickly start the local host so that I can start my test. Yep, I'll go back with one user and then I start. So here if you see, first thing, right, see it shows added to cart. How can I add to cart when I cannot, when I haven't even browsed it, or when I haven't even viewed it, right? So this is how the random thing works. So that's what I told you in the very beginning. Like we give the task, so they get triggered in a random fashion. It is not supposed to be this way, right? If you're running a set of transactions which has to be followed a set of transactions, with the way the flow, if it should follow, then it should not go like this. So this will work, but not for this scenario. When I say this scenario, which is the flow, right? So you, because you need to have the values, right? So that's why we have to fix this. We must not run any random actions like this. So let's see how to fix that in the next section now. So quick summary: a random order, yes, this is fine for independent actions, but what if we need order? What if they are dependent with one after the other? So now the solution is we have to do it in a sequential task set. So here if you see the value that we have, let me create another file for this. So I will create the sequential way of organizing sequential task set. So let me create another folder here, which will be sequential underscore task, and I'm going to create a file here which is going to be locust file.py, right? And now I'm going to give you the exact way of how it should run in a sequential fashion. Yeah, so here you can see the exact script that we need in terms of the sequential task set. So the difference here is I have made three changes. I have imported the sequential task set instead of the regular one, and then I have inherited from the sequential task set. See here, I've inherited from it, and no weights needed. It's going to be order from top to bottom, no weights needed. So in the previous one, we have added the weights. So now we are not going to do any of these orders. It's going to be from top to bottom. And now I have to navigate to the right folder. So cd, it's going to be cd sequential task, right? And then ls, yep, I will paste my code. It's going to be sequential, sorry, I have to change the file name. It's going to be locust file.py. Open the browser and let me start the test. And now here you can see very well in the order. So I'm browsing the product, and then I'm selecting the product and adding to the cart, and then I'm going to check out. And now I'm going back again to the browsing products, and then I'm going to do the selecting product and then adding to cart, and then it's going to be checkout. So the perfect order, and every time this is what's going to happen. This is exactly how the real users behave, right? And this is exactly how I need to run an application if they are dependent one after the other, right? So far we have seen two set. One is the random and the other one is the sequential. And now let me stop the test. It's time for the next one. So now let's talk about the task sets, which is grouping. And before that, let me stop the test in the browser as well. So the next one is the task sets, so which is grouping the related tasks. So imagine an e-commerce with two types of users. One is the browsers who are just looking around, like somebody like me, who just do the window shopping in the websites and the e-commerce sites, and then the actual buyers, like most of you people. So actual purchasing, who does actual purchasing, right? So we have like two set of users, but how are we going to mix it, right? So that's a question here. How are we going to mix the task set? Uh, okay, let me first copy the code here and then I'll explain you step by step. So now I'm going to explain the task set, and the code is very, very simple. So I'm importing the task set. I'm importing the task set and then I'm adding to the class. And here I've given the task part, that is the number, the weightage for each of these tasks. And then at the end, I'm giving users who actually buy, and then the title, the product, the cart, and the add to cart, and everything, and then the checkout part finally. And after that, I'm giving the the weightage for each of these tasks. So here, if you see, I've given the browsing behavior like to up to 70% in total for the browsing behavior, and for the buying behavior it's going to be 30% for the buy. So by doing this, I'm actually giving the weightage for these users, and let me quickly show you the how does it really work. So let me open it, and then I'm going to give, like, I'll just show you here. I'm going to use two users with a ramp up of 1 second, and let me start running the test. And here you can see, you can very well see I've got users who are like spanned for two users, and I've got different uh, transactions for them. So let me explain. So the group related tasks. So all are browsing together and all are buying together. And this is reusable. So I can use the same task set in multiple user types. And then when it comes to the weighted, I can have like 70% who browses and 30% who buys. And again, I'm gonna exit the task set when it is done. So by doing this, I can very well achieve the task set, right? So that's how it uses, and it uses different behaviors, different user behaviors, and that's how the task set really works. And now the next one, the last one, which is going to be the nested task sets. So here, if you see, you can very well see the mix of tasks. But let me, before that, let me show you what exactly has happened. And before that, let me quickly stop it. Fine. Yeah. So what did I do is I have a task set, which is a nested task set. So previously we started with the actual task set, and then we went with the sequential, and then we went with the task set, which has a weightage of both all the behaviors. And then now we have the nested task set. So here I start with the task set, and then I have the sequential task set inside it, and after that I have a task set as a next class. So I have a mix of all these tasks set inside it, and then finally I've got the shopping behavior part. And when I run it here, you can very well see how did the users work. So I started, I mean, one of the user has started with just starting the checkout workflow, where he started to add to the cart, and then other users have started to enter the shipping. So what exactly has happened here is, again, let me quickly reiterate. So the checkout sequence is inside the shopping behavior, and the users browse randomly. But when they check out, it's going to be sequential, and this is the realistic of the scenario. So the browsing is going to be random, and the checkout should follow the steps. So now, before I end, let me end with the summary. So when to use what? A quick decision on it. So if you use task decorators only when you're going to use the independent actions, and you're not going to follow any specific order, and you can use the task, not the task set, the task, when you are going to run a simple load testing example, for like example like API endpoints that don't depend on each other. And then if you want to run, or if you want to use the sequential task set, the one that you see here, the sequential task set, you can use the sequential task set when you are grouping the related behaviors, and when you're using different user types, and when you're using the reusable task group, for example, the sequential task set, when you're using step-by-step workflows, and when you want to do actions like login, action, logout patterns, or when you want to emulate the behavior of multi-step forms, example like user registration, checkout process. In those cases, you have to use the sequential. And when it comes to the task set, so the task set grouping, so when do we use this is when we want to group the related behaviors, and when we are having different user types, and when we are having reusable task groups, for example, admin users versus regular users. And then finally, the advanced one, that is the nested task set. This comes when you are running any complex applications, and when there is a mix of random and sequential. And these work when you want to emulate a realistic user journey, for example, e-commerce with the browsing plus checkout. So with that, I come to the end of this video. So until I meet you all with another interesting video, until then, it's bye bye from Mr. and your favorite Little Star YouTube channel. Take care and bye bye.